How are you, my brother? I have to give you a fanfare. I'm not hearing you. Unmute your mic. I'm still not hearing you. Your mic need unmuting. Unmute your mic.
Yeah.
Nice. Welcome, partner. I have to give you a fanfare welcome. Yeah, I'm still not hearing you. Something, your mic went mute again. Try again. I'm seeing your picture, but I'm not. Yeah, it's good. Oh, okay. So, Barrington Skippy is back with us, and he'll be with us on Fridays. And of course, Richard will be joining us at 5. Understand he has some commitments. Our special guest from 5 will be the Deputy or the Acting Commissioner of Prisons, Mr. Deopersad Ramoutar. And the topic we will be discussing with him: prison reform, prison sentence, and how it is served, and how our prison years counted. So we're standing by so that Barrington can link up clearly with us. By looking. What went wrong there? Hold on, Mackie, don't do that. Yes, so Barrington looks very dapper and ready to rumble. So we just wait until he get his system all linked up and ready to rumble. And like I said to the folks who are logged on, or Deputy Commissioner of Prisons, Deopersad Ramoutar is our special guest from 5 thereabout. We'll be joined by Richard around that same time also. So a lot in store. I'm sure you want to hear what's happening. So much talk about what's going on at the prison facilities and what is planned for improvement and all of that. So we invite you to stick and stay. And in the meantime, let me say hi to all the folks who are leaving their offices right now, heading into their vehicles. Destination, well, unknown, as it's Friday. Could be home, could be that recreational spot, a watering hole, some pleasure area. Wherever you're heading, we're going to be keeping you company all the way till 7. Yes. After work line power wanted to Digital Friday. So let me see. I'm not seeing my boy coming up as yet. In the meantime, let me remind you, on Mondays we have Karen Nunez Teixeira as our co-host. On Wednesdays, Farid Ali, attorney at law. On Thursdays, Michaela Pandey, all co-hosts. And of course on Fridays, Barrington Skippy Thomas. So he's back with us, folks. So I'm waiting for him to link up with me. Yeah. In the meantime, let me take this call here. Good afternoon. How's my brother? Hello? Yes, my brother.
Dun, dun, dun. Nice one, Ganga. I like it. I like it. Dun, dun, dun.
That's to welcome my old hero, man.
Your hero, huh?
Yeah.
Well, even though your buddy Skippy might be able to say and quote the good book, a good man is never honored in his own land,
Yeah.
at least in this land.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, buddy.
A royal
bud.
fanfare.
Thank you. Good to have the old gang back. That's good.
Yes, man. Yes.
Need the balance.
Yes.
You need the balance.
Yes.
You need the balance, you know. All right, buddy. Take care.
Okay, my brother. Stand by, folks. I'm still awaiting Skippy to mute his microphone. We have discussed so many topics over the week. I mean, this is where it's at. This is where it happens. Non-stop. Yes, Barrington.
Hey, Watson partners.
Yes, man. I'm good. How are you? You look dapper, boy. You look like like you're at the bench now. Nice to have you back with us.
All day. I've been up working all day. Where is Richard Noray?
Richard Noray had a meeting to attend, so he'll be joining us at 5. So you have the microphone is all yours, man. The stage is set for you.
Richard Noray is still always late and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I call on management. Remember, you have a thing where you just say, Thomas, what did management tell you about that? Boy? I call on management to implement disciplinary actions against Richard Noray. I will prosecute him. No, but of course, you know he's busy. He has a major financial institution to manage.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, they have reposed some confidence in him to be the president, I think, or chairman, president. I know so. So I look forward to him joining at when he said he'll join at 5 p.m.
5 o'clock,
Now, well, the truth is I really had in mind this evening to come on for one specific discussion matter. As a consequence of that, I was really prepared for that. But I've been doing this thing like, are you all hearing me clearly, right?
So
I've been doing this thing like long, so it doesn't mean that I can't pull a topic out the hat and deal with it. And if I have to pick a topic out the hat to deal with it, most certainly, even though it be a Friday evening, I will pick the topic of this abuse of children in homes and so on. And you see, it's important to say this, like very important to say this. I remember interviewing, we did an interview we did an interview, and then the killing of some lads who were in a home in Valsayn.
Yeah.
And of course, they said to us here that afternoon, they never ran away from the home per se. They ran away from the custody of the home, but not from the home.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember asking them, what does that mean?
Yeah.
They said and they said they were taken from the home by a very senior director of the Children's Authority,
Ruben.
I don't think you could play music now.
No music.
All right, but what happened, Rubes, is that I'll chat with you by WhatsApp, or maybe I could have say I just want to know how to forward the link and so now to my Facebook to go live there as well. Do you know a little chupity when it comes to these IT matters here. I know as a country bookie.
I sent it to you, Skippy.
So happy to hear the lingua again, man.
You know a little chubby, that country bookie, a little chubby when it comes to these matters. But once I know to share, I want to share. And so remember we interviewed those boys here.
Yeah.
And they said we escaped the custody of the Children Authority, but we did not abscond the custody of the home. And there is a very significant differentiation in all of that. Like very, very significant differentiation in all of that. Trust me. And I am saying, it is my submission, and I am insisting that the boys during their interview said they were taken to the Hyatt Hotel by a very senior director of the Children's Authority. And they were being pimped out for sex with males. They said, looking at the hue of the males, they suspect they were businessmen based on the conversations they were having, their deportment, and the things they were drinking and eating. And so the boys were just there for sexual entertainment. And they escaped from that scenario. One knew of an abandoned building in John, and they ran there. And while they were there, sometime a hail of gunfire were opened upon them. A hail of gunfire were opened upon them. And as a result of that gunfire, 2 died, 1 were injured, 1 escaped. And the one that escaped lived more or less, in local parlance, lived more or less to tell the story. Now, that is where that may have ended for me, and I'm sure for us, because we conducted only an interview. But lo and behold, many moons after, the Children Authority coming out of the Judith Jones report, right? Right. The Children Authority coming out of the Judith Jones report had this to say. Some children abscond the custody of the home. They called Shabazz Mohammed. I want to put on record, and I could be in error with the name, or is Mohammed Shabazz? No, Mohammed Shabazz was the one we knew. He worked with us.
Yeah.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
But Shabazz Mohammed, Jamal Shabazz, am I correct? He is one of the national football managers and so.
Yes.
National football team managers.
Yeah.
Jamal Shabazz.
Mm-hmm. I think he's out in Guyana now, managing the.
Yeah. Well, you are correct.
Mm-hmm.
You are very, very correct. And I'll tell you why you're correct. Jamal Shabazz. Yes. You are correct, Jamal Shabazz. Mm-hmm. And the report indicated that the executive director of the Children's Authority called Jamal Shabazz. And Jamal said he called Bombay, one Mr. Anthony Boney. I'm advised that this Mr. Anthony Boney is known as one Bombay, someone reputed to be the manager or chief executive officer, if we want to put it that way, the leader of the gang, a group of people named by the police service in this country to be a gang called the Muslim City. He's the leader of that. And they died. The boys died. I'm accusing nobody of nothing. But I'm just triangulating the information. So I know we had the interview. I remembered what the boys said. I saw the Judith Jones report. It was on page 55 of that report that the executive director of the Children's Authority, one Mr. Anthony Boney, known as Bombay, reputed to be the gang leader of the Muslim City. So we know the boys died. We have to triangulate this information. And I will never step on my own message because Jamal Shabazz, in my respectful view, at no material time have been a criminal element in this country, right? I want to put that on record. Jamal Shabazz is not a criminal element in this country. However, Jamal Shabazz was a member and a participant, in fact, one of the insurrectionists in the July 27, 1990 insurrection, right? Jamal Shabazz was one of those persons. So, without imputing improper motive to Jamal's character, and I'm doing no such thing, as I tell you, I am one of the persons in this country that trust Jamal Shabazz with my life. And I want to go on record as saying, Jamal Shabazz, you and the other 13 that were involved in the July 1990 coup, you are heroes and history would absolve you. I want to go on record as saying that. However, let us go back now to the Children Authority, but this is not about Jamal Shabazz. This is about the Children Authority. Let us go back to the Children's Authority, right? And is it the procedure of the Children's Authority when children in the homes go missing that you call former insurrectionists? People, yeah, you call a former insurrectionist who will call a gang leader? Is that the procedure for pursuing children that have absconded the custody of these homes? Because that is the issue here. That is one of the issues here. And that is one aside. The point I am making, and I conclude by saying, the Children Authority have failed the children in its custody. Because what these reports are suggesting to me is that the Children Authority is the fire. And these children only jump from the frying pan into the fire. That is what these reports are suggesting to me. It is suggesting to me that the Children Authority have dropped the bag. They are dragging the flag. The Children Authority is culpable of everything and anything prosecutable that they have been prosecuting people for in the past. Because I want to remind Trinidad and Tobago, now I am not in pedophilia, nonsense, and I want to make another point, and let me make this point quickly. It is tragic though, and a very saddening thing to me to see that a serious issue where children are in danger and children are being abused by those who have statutory responsibility for caring for them and protecting them, they are being abused by them. But you know it's sad for me? We are speaking here this evening. Rowley had the report on it just since last year, December. What is the woman named, the MP for Tobago West? I must admit, I really can't remember her name. Webster. All I know, I think she named Ayana.
Yes, Ayana Webster Roy.
And everybody in this country who want to know or who I know must know that there are some women with some names. And when you hear those names, you must only expect trouble. Some of those names like Aisha, Onika, Ayana. When you hear them names, them is woman to run from. Right? Them is woman to run from. But I'm not getting into that with her. I'm not saying anything about the gentlewoman, right? I'm not saying anything about the gentlewoman. I try to do two things at the same time because I'm trying to share the thing out of my Facebook. Yeah. And all I say is that them is woman to run from, right? Trust me. No, I think. Rubes.
Ruben.
Rubes.
We're probably waiting.
If I copy the link and just put it in the Facebook thingy on top, it should be okay. That should work.
That'll work fine, yes.
No, I know that as a IT engineer with a master's and so in this. I know I just asked you there was stupidness that made no sense to you. I know that. I know that, but it makes it sense to me in my head, right? I know that as an IT engineer with a master's and so in. I know it's just stupidness accident and you are so confused. You're wondering, what on earth did he just say? I know that. I know that. Oh, I'm wondering if I could just share go on the YouTube thingy, right? And just share it to Facebook.
Yep, just share it to Facebook, yeah.
Well, you see, I'm not that daft after a while. I'm not that daft after a while, eh? Yeah. I'm not that daft after a while, so I'm doing that now.
Yeah.
Good. Great, sure, good. So that is going on there now. Right, so let me get back to what we were saying. And what we're saying, and it again, it is my submission, and I say this, that this is not about Mohammed Shabazz at all. No, not Mohammed Shabazz.
Jamal Shabazz.
In fact, if I have an issue and need help, especially with children and so, Jamal Shabazz may very well be one of the persons I may very well call, to say the truth, right?
Mm.
To say the truth. But is that the procedure for a state agency? Because there are no records of this state agency, no records of this state agency calling the police, engaging the community police. Let me say, for all intents and purposes, they could have called in the army, which I think might be, and I will agree with anybody who suggests that calling in the army would be high-handed and unnecessary, and it was like taking a sledgehammer to kill an ant. But the point I am making, at least the army, the defense force, is a state agency. The Children's Authority called a former insurrectionist, and that insurrectionist, by his own admission, called a reputed gang leader to look for these boys. I'm accusing nobody of nothing, except to say, we interviewed these boys here one afternoon. We know they died. They told their story, and the Children's Authority position and the Judith Jones report only offered a further explanation. I did not say clarification, it offered a further explanation. And so the issue here is the Children's Authority. And I go back to the point I was making before I try to do that techno thing there. I go back to the point I was making before, and the point is this. We are talking about them here now. Rowley had the report on his desk, December the 21st last year. Ayanna Webster Roy. Now, every time she opens her mouth, she does remind me of these women who does be pulling sane in Charlottesville. She had the report last year. Names were called, homes were identified, victims cried out. But you know what? We discussing it here. The newspaper running a field day, everybody having their say. But here, what is going on with this now? The victims who cried out, they're still in the homes. The homes are still being operated. The managers of the home are still there. The executive director of the Children's Authority is still in office receiving a salary. The Children's Authority is still receiving millions upon millions of taxpayers' money. And the homes are still being funded by the state. But we are discussing, we have this national outcry, but nothing have changed. Nothing were injuncted. Nothing were interrupted. Nothing. Everything going on as usual. And we are to believe as a nation, we have the best approach to this situation. I suspect this is going to be a 9 days discussion. And these children will still be taken to the Hyatt and other locations to have sex with adults. Managers in the homes are still going to profit from their pimping arrangement. The Children's Authority, the Children's Authority on this matter, right? That ought to have intervened more forcefully because they are the authority in law to treat with this matter, is still culpable. The victims will grow up and hear what this Judith Jones 2021 report will boil down to be. Remember, we also talking about the SABGA 1998 report?
Yep.
20 years from now, when our next report come out, we'll be talking about the Judith Jones 2021 report, just as so we referring now to the SABGA 1998 report. That is just the sad truth. That is just the sad truth. And we want to know why children fighting in the road. Well, let me suggest why I think children are fighting in the road. Children are fighting in the road because if me, student Skippy, and student Mac have a dispute, and student Ruben have a dispute. But remember, teacher John does carry student Skippy to buy KFC for him. And when school over, the whole school does see student Skippy going away with teacher John, or principal Harry, or vice principal Jane, right? Or vice principal Jane. The whole school know, except the school supervisor, but the whole school know that Skippy with Sir, and this next Sir with this girl, and this girl with that, so the whole school know about those arrangements. So when we have dispute as students, you think the teaching pool of the school is the best place to go with those issues? Because the respect for the teaching staff is just not there. And so we resolve it on the street corners and on the road. And I talking about sexual abuse. What about the children in school selling marijuana for teachers? These are real issues in this country, you know. And this degree of ostracism everybody wants to engage in is why we will never solve it. Today, I want to single out, and I want to say boldly, clearly, and loudly, Morgan Job, wherever you are, Trinidad and Tobago owes you an apology, because it is about 40 years ago you were warning us. It is about 40 years ago, Morgan Job was saying and predicting what we are experiencing now, because he was saying we are sowing dragon's teeth. And if we don't make some very conscious and serious intervention, everything happening today is what he predicted would happen.
So true.
That's just the truth. That is just the truth. 2228255 or 6128255. We do still take calls, right?
Yes, we can take calls.
Do that, please.
Yes, 2228255, 6128255. Join us. And our toll-free number, 866-525-1099. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so I'm anxious to hear what some of the callers have to say. So I know it's at 5 o'clock, we're going to have another serious discussion.
Yes.
So this thing have to fix. This thing have to fix. And I want to warn people. And you see, let me show you how nasty and ridiculous Trinidad and Tobago could be. You know, this boils down now to a political discussion, right?
Yes, it is.
The children still in the home. The home still receiving taxpayers' money. Nobody from the Children Authority was suspended or fired or resigned or made to resign. The whole status quo still remain. But this is a national outcry with the status quo still in place. The home still receiving taxpayers' money. The children still there. The same victims who are crying out. The perpetrators that they have named us. But we having a discussion in this country. Are we serious in this place?
I have a call on the line, Barrington.
Yeah, let's take the call. Yes. Hello, caller.
Yeah, I say this with a very, very heavy heart. But I tell you something. People want to get to the low-hanging fruit in this situation here. And here's the situation I'm saying here, Mr. Barrington, and I don't think I'm talking politics here, right? Ever since that report was lodged, every single minister, whether it's children's affairs or women's affairs or social, whatever they call it, social development or whatever they call it, right? Every minister who sat in that portfolio, who sat in the cabinet under any administration, has to be held accountable. And yes, I am not saying I'm chasing ghosts here, right? You know who do what they did and died. But I'm saying that there are still individuals who walks amongst us, right? Whether it's in the private sector and they used to be in government, whether those who are in government on either side of the aisle, right? These are the people that you need to go to. And this nonsense I'm hearing somebody talk about, oh, we will walk and we will march. Enough. Because you know what? I heard that former minister Ramoutar, or whatever his name is, saying that he was aware of that report, and what he did was that he decided to address the legal process. Listen, that did not address the issue, and he also said that my objective is not to prosecute anybody. Are you kidding me? That is the important thing here. So I am saying that what needs to be done is that that Mr. Pandey, Mr. Rowley, and whomever else from top down have to stand responsibility for this. And Trinidad and Tobago, woe unto you, woe unto you, if you all make this, as I just said the term, a 9-day wonder, right? Then you will eat the bread the devil need, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, right, it's not just the people who abuse the children, whether it is the nun, whether it is the manager of the facility, but it is the people who they report to, who give us our taxpayers or your taxpayers' money, right, to run this brothel. I'm sorry.
No,
That's what I feel.
Okay, thank you, my brother. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon, brother.
I hearing somebody like Mudflower.
Yes, it is. Mudflower is back. On Friday.
Good evening, Mr. Barrington.
He's listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am concerned about this country, because everything seems to be about money. You know how much money we spent in the last year in advertising and about abuse and all these things. And I hear all these things happening, and I wonder if I go by a police station and ask if one report was made in the district where these homes is, and it will become just like hearsay, because no report has been made. And if you is in an organization and a child have been abused, the whole board who representing that organization has to go to court. That's how I know it. You go into court and they will call it, and we have the laws to bring people to court. You understand? This is a serious thing, but I realize this is just a talking point to get the nation mind off of what really going on. And what really going on is...
Caller, I say this. Now, the truth is, I am not a boastful person by nature, but I do admit that there are times when circumstances make me boast. Let me tell you why I realize that this serious conversation is now becoming a joke, right? Yesterday, my very good friend Aisha Wells, who unfortunately I had to instruct Queen's Counsel, senior counsels, and a battery of lawyers to proceed against. Very unfortunate. I take no pleasure in it. And during an interview with somebody she had on yesterday, so here what this boiled down to, some nonsense conversation in the public domain that is the PNM that have this cluster of pedophiles. So of course, in trying to respond to that, they list out a long list of UNC people and unfortunately put my name in it too. So you see how stupid this discussion have become in this country? Yeah. And while we're doing all this nonsense in this country, homes are still in place, the children authority is still in place, taxpayers' money is still being expended to these homes, and we have reduced into creating political lists to score political points and making politics out of this. I'm singing, I know we can't play this song, Emma, but I will always remember, I think Sandra's song is so appropriate in this. No child shall be left behind. You remember that?
Yes.
Yes, keep you on top of that. On top of that, we do have no gas to start back train 1 and 2, but your minister energy going and talking about getting people gas. I can't understand how we pay 300 million because they have no gas and in place and the thing in, and nobody ain't talking nothing more that he going up and talking about the gas export if people need help. What kind of stupidness this is, and the raise the take away the
Subsidy.
subsidy because it a lack of gas and oil. Well, enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thank you, my brother.
Well, no, I don't want to change the discussion. And you know what is humorous about all of this? And I am wondering why we thinking something serious will be coming out of this discussion. This is a country with a taxpayer's bullet and a taxpayer's rifle and a bullet, a rifle, and a Coast Guard man or men or women or both at the expense of taxpayers that slaughter a baby, young Yasebel Gonzalez in the Gulf of Paria, you know.
Yeah.
We kill a child on open seas in this country, you know. Write it off as a accident. And those who did not write it off as an accident loudly and boldly declare, so what she was bringing him here for. That is how we dismiss the slaughter of a child in this country, a 2-year-old child. That is how we as a country dismiss that, you know. So when those are the issues, and when the world is looking at us as people who kill children and have the benefit of state sapping up the issue to make it clean and palatable. Come on, we kill a child in the open, and as a state, we covering it up, protecting those who slaughter their child, and this stupidness about what the mother is bringing him here for. I remember in the Holy Bible that I subscribe to, in the Holy Bible, it tells us about the journey, right? The migrant process that Mary and Joseph had to engage in to carry Jesus from where he was to another place. But you see me?
Let's take this call, Barrington. Good afternoon.
Is my brutal
good afternoon, gentlemen.
are them disliking me?
Yes, make it short, my friend. We have a special guest to come on.
All right, very quickly.
Yes.
I was trying to inquire on what are some of the solutions to this problem, and I was doing some reading. And after reading, I wanted to cry more. The best kept global secret is this child porn activity. They say that this thing is satanic, ritualistic, and it results in brainwashing, and very often ends with human sacrifice or death. And it is conducted by very cunning and secretive and powerful people. They know that the end result of what they do is victimization of children. And they know that when the allegations are revealed, it is treated as bizarre and as very dubious. And whenever it is credible, it causes a lot of outrage. And the level of proof that is required and legal effectiveness to deal with it, to begin to avert this kind of behavior, is not commensurate with what exists in countries. The consequences of suspicion, investigation, and incarceration has to be dealt with very severely with justice and law enforcement. And the secretive and institutionalization behavior of this thing with child pornography has to be, wherever it is suspected, it has to be treated with scrutiny. And just a few more points.
Mark?
Yes, my brother.
I suggest we should go to the guest because we are scheduled the guest.
Okay, partner, thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. We have a special guest online, so I need you people to hold your calls for a while. The acting commissioner or the deputy commissioner of prisons, Deopersad Ramoutar, is on with us, and Skippy will conduct the interview while we await Richard's arrival. Barrington, go ahead.
Is it my understanding that we will be taking no break at this, so we go straight into the interview,
Yes.
Mr. Ramoutar?
Yes, straight into the interview.
Ruben, Ruben, you're there, senior. Ruben,
Rubes.
Commissioner, good afternoon and welcome.
Hi, good afternoon.
No, you know it's a race I'm going and ask. How are you, Commissioner? Let me firstly congratulate you. On your appointment as Commissioner Acting of the Prison Service of Trinidad and Tobago. And
thank you.
And I said, are you hearing me clearly, Commissioner?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Yes, you're congratulating me. Are you finished with your congratulations?
Yes, I congratulate you on your appointment as Commissioner of Prison Acting. And I think that it is my respectful view, and there's no doubt in my mind about this, that I genuinely believe that you are a worthy candidate, very worthy candidate. I want to qualify to walk in the shoes of the greats like Cipriani Batiste, Lennox Watson, Michael Hercules, and you realize and your predecessor, I can't remember his name now, Mr. Wilson, okay. And Mr. Pulchan. And I said that, and perhaps it's important for me to explain why I said that. It's because you would have been around the batch and era of the likes of people like Cedric Guy, Lennox Holder, Taka McPherson.
Yes.
And they were indeed prison officers.
Yes.
And so when I heard of your appointment, I said to myself, the prison service is indeed in good hands. I know it's not one of the agreed discussion, but I must ask, what does the prison, I must ask, and you must forgive me, what does the prison service have in place to keep that legacy of leadership to go for the future? Because that is very important to me, and I'm sure to many others.
Right. Good afternoon, Skippy. Good afternoon to your guests. Good afternoon to Trinidad and Tobago. And a special good afternoon to prison officers. And we do have media in the prison, television and radio and so on. So good afternoon to the inmates. I must thank you very much for your warm welcome. Yeah, I must thank you very much for your warm welcome and your kind words.
You're most welcome.
Yes.
You're most welcome.
What do we have to continue the legacy of those great giants?
Yes.
We have, first of all, institutional knowledge. So you cannot read about a legend and really follow on. You must be there to have seen them, work with them, shake their hands, and be under their tutelage. I have been there.
Yes.
That's one point of the but we have general orders. We have policies in place to follow on what they would have put in place. However, Skippy, the prison of years gone by is not the prison of today. Inmates have evolved in their techniques in obtaining contraband. Officers have lost some integrity to the years gone by. I'm doing a comparison here. So the prison, as it were, 30 years ago is totally not the prison of today. So I dare say the legends of those years gone by may not be able to handle the prison of today's time. And we can respectfully understand that and appreciate that. But a short answer to your question,
yeah,
I have been there with those guys. My colleagues who have come before me have been there too. And it's a hand-me-down. Other than the black and white issues, it's hand-me-down what to do and what's the right thing to do. So that's the short answer to your question.
Mr. Ramoutar, yes?
Yes.
I know that, yes, Mr. I know one of the issues for us to discuss this evening is that of prison reform. But the truth is, as far as I'm concerned, that have become quite most respectfully to me, catchphrase. I think it's used loosely. We have been discussing prison reform from since the medieval days. Prison reform has been discussed from since the Pope was an acolyte. No, I think it's just been used loosely and bandied about and so. But however,
I will agree with you. I will agree with you, yes.
I want us to have, and you'll forgive me, and let me tell you something. This evening program is not about interrogating the prison system. It's really, for me and for us and the listeners, I was asking questions to see how because the police service say they need the public help. And I suspect if anybody need the public help more than the police asking for it, is the prison circle. I'll tell you what. This one prison officer, and I want to repeat that, this one prison officer have to be a different personality to 100 prisoners.
Yes.
This one prison officer have to be father, leader, counselor, guidance, peacemaker, intervener, disciplinarian. You have to be a million things to one prisoner individually.
Yes.
And you can imagine with a number of 3,000 something. And I don't care anybody say, very often, sometimes, my empathy is not with the police service. They have sufficient resources. They must just do their work. My real empathy is with the prison officers. Because I learned from and these are prisoners that teach me this. And for the avoidance of doubt, I must make a declaration. I myself have served some time in the prison.
Yes, yes.
God have blessed me now with a really good life. So for the avoidance of doubt, I must say that. I think it's important that I must declare that interest in this conversation. And this one prison officer have to be everything to everybody, and it cannot be fair to them. I'm not here for the police service. The police service have their own resources. They must do their work. I remember an old prisoner telling me once, just skipping sometime, and he's a prisoner, so you have to sympathize with that prison officer. I said, why? They have us locked up here. He said, no. He said, remember, it's criminals here, And if they don't do what they have to do at times, it's criminals here. A criminal go wake up in the morning and just don't be in the mood to stay here and go and take away the key and open the gate and go home. So the prison have to have discipline. And that registered in my mind. So always hearing prison reform. But what is prison reform, Commissioner? What is prison reform?
Skippy, you are a unique host. I am an added listener to your program.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What is prison reform? Prison reform tends to say that let's do things differently than how we are doing it right now. Let's be innovative. What has been done over the years is training and retraining of officers. Officers have been trained, well, in your induction training, you are trained the operational side of the prison, how to feed, bathe, and tub inmates, security and crowd control. The advanced training into the social sciences, psychology, how to give a prisoner a hearing, to give him counsel. That doesn't happen in inductive training. That happens afterwards. And that is what we talk about prison reform. Reforming the minds of the staff. Reforming to get officers to think and speak like you, Skippy. To understand that our mandate is not just to lock prisoners up in a cell and then open them the next day to feed them, to give them food. And it's unfortunately the prisons have not been focusing on rehabilitation in a structured way as we should. I can easily say, make as an excuse, lack of resources, but I'm not going to make any excuse. I'm saying we have to retrain officers in the right direction. We have to ask officers to embrace that. Those some qualities you identified there, the father figure.
Yeah.
Be a brother, and to the female inmate to be a sister to the inmates. These are words that can easily be said, but it is very difficult to embrace those qualities when as a citizen also, you know, they commit gruesome crime. They commit gruesome crime. So you have to find that part in you to forget that and see this person as part of your job first, and some way get to love your job. You got to love your job. If you don't love the inmates, at least love your job. That way of thinking, Skippy, is prison reform.
But may I ask, Commissioner, and I'm qualifying this question, is it an issue of the quantity of prisoners, the amount of prisoners you have in Trinidad? I'll ask you why. I'll tell you why. In Tobago, the cry you hear about the prison don't really exist in Tobago. And let me tell you, I was there, and I know about the father figure thing. Taka, I remember Mr. Holder. He's still alive. Taka is still alive. Mr. Guy is still alive. Rubeno Thomas, he died. You see, I could remember their name. Yes. But these people, while I was in prison, played a very integral role in my life. In fact, Taka said, let me tell you something. We understand that when you got arrested, when I got arrested, first I was 16 and Kelvin Ali sent me to adult prison instead of the YTC. And these fellas said, no, you're 16, we understand you're in school and you're doing well. Look, all the teachers and the students are coming and visit. So, you know what the prison officers did there? They made an arrangement and they got the books and things for me. And so I don't know if they could get in trouble. In any event, they retire, so I doubt they could get in trouble. And they used to make an arrangement for me to get to school. I'm in prison, I'm in prison. But on Wednesday morning, come after pouring me school clothes, I go to school, they say, we trust you. You have to trust yourself. They said, nobody in Trinidad know we're doing this. You have to trust yourself because we're not going to sit down here and see your bright mind go to waste.
Skippy, give me the names of the officers, I'm going to lock them up.
No, they retire. You can't do them nothing now. They're very, very, very retired now. In Tobago again on a Sunday, in the prisons, they will come and they'll carry us to the beach. I don't know if you do have something in Tobago named Harvest.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, Harvest is where the whole village, everybody else keep a party in their home and thing.
Okay.
While I was in the prison for my 2 years, I used to go home and keep Harvest.
Okay.
The point I'm making, and senior officers used to leave Trinidad. In fact, I remember Mr. Baptiste coming to Tobago. He said, you spoke to your grandmother for the month? I said, yes, sir. He said, all right, well, come up in front, call Shana because your harvest coming out, your harvest coming up. And I said that, she said, yeah, if you want to go and keep harvest with your friends from in the prison, come. And as a reward for good behavior, we took the best prisoners, the officers were there with the rest. We used to go out and clean the churchyards, cemeteries. And the point I'm making is that in the Tobago prison, they had a module that worked. Okay. They had a module that worked. Why cannot that carrying the prisoners to the beach? No, trust me, I know why. A man with a murder case, he's swimming far, he's not coming back. Yeah. Because that's some real issues, I imagine. Yeah. But and so it bring me to this. And I see it's happening. I think I've read that there's a prison deep south or somewhere, Clarksonville or somewhere there.
Yes.
And I have always advocated, even when we were in government and sometime in cabinet, and so I'll advocate with my colleagues, why don't we decentralize the prisons? Decentralize the prison system and commit offenders who are sentenced to their district so that they could, go out, do the gang, what is called the out gang, do the labor, do the work, do the thing like that. And so tell us about that. How does a prison sentence really run? Is it that you just come in, lockdown? What is that about?
Okay, right. Skippy, let me.
Not me. I can't understand how it happened, but let's say Richard Noray.
All right. Your partner.
Richard Noray is sentenced to prison. What should Richard Noray expect?
Right, Skippy, before I answer your question, let me say something that will make you feel a little bit happy about Tobago prison.
Yes.
And I said it on an article this week on the papers. I revealed my plans for Tobago prison. As it stands now, Tobago prison was 15, 14, now it's 13 inmates. And as it stands, 1-3. They are, for lack of a better word, I'll say a drain on the state right now, because they're just holding people there. I have been in office just two months now. Here's my plan for Tobago Prison. I am only going to put Tobagonian inmates there. Inmates who are Tobagonians and who are trusted. They are going to go out in the community and do work. They're gonna government buildings, painting, cutlassing the place, and beautifying the place for tourism. We'll go at people who have who are poor and simple means and do chores for them, so that the inmates will be admired. Here are the benefits from that, Skippy. Being an inmate is something of an embarrassment to the family. It's an embarrassment for reintegration. You have to manage that. When Tobagonians see this truck with prisoners going around and doing all this good work, they're going to start to like them and maybe eventually love what they do. And that is going to translate to love the prison service. That is prison reform in a nutshell. So it's giving back to Tobago what Tobago needs. That's a model. I'm hoping that all the Caribbean countries want to tap into that and do it in a bigger way. I'm going to go to the THA and other state organizations and ask them to sponsor us tools, chainsaw, cutlass, hoe, whacker machines. That's my plan for Tobago, Skippy. Don't you love that plan?
Well, Commissioner, I say to that, I've not said it in a rude way. I say to that, Rob, the thing on, all right, I get, are you hearing me now?
Yes. There was no interruption. Go ahead.
Right. I say to you, Commissioner, what you are doing there, that suggestion is going to be the first time a commissioner of prison is going to be the first time a commissioner of prison sanction and led it. So when you see everything you just said there?
Yes.
When I was the prison in Tobago, I was a prisoner, of course. But what had happened at the time is that because of my family background, and I'm not going to be ashamed of my family success. They're prominent and they're affluent. And because I was there, no, they never visited the prison before, so they didn't care who went there. And I don't think they ever went there after I left. So they didn't care who went there after. But while I was there, everything you just said, it was being done. But it was never being done officially. Okay. And I could tell you from where I sit that the THA and the Tobago Chamber of Commerce, the religious there's a religious board in Tobago. I could tell you the Tobago Division of Community Development will be sitting, twiddling thumbs, waiting on you to roll out a red carpet for you to arrive on the island with that.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Because just what you have outlined there. Yes. There is an approved. There is, in fact, I wrote a thesis on it when I was doing my master's. So there is an approved program with the THA, and it's just for the prison to come and say, we're ready. So you don't know, in fact, you're making me feel not to ask you no more questions. But then that would be selfish because I would want to be, but the point is, I really want prisoners to be great. And so, here what is because that what you have just rolled out there, Assist Commissioner deals with and is strictly related to post-prison reintegration. That is a Herculean task for many.
Yes.
Fortunately for me, I left the Friday, and then on the Monday, I was on a plane to London. Well, on the Friday, the Sunday, I was on a plane to Trinidad. And then on the Monday, I was on a plane to London. Then I went to finish in school. So they said they have to re-engineer my thinking. So they sent me to a finishing school in Holborn. I spent 8 months there. You know, to eat with knife and fork and use English. And I said that's stupidness. But, well, I'm saying stupidness loosely. So they sent me to, and then from finishing school, I went to Manchester University, then to Oxford, and then to London School of Economics, and I started teaching at London School of Economics. And so, but I go back to the point. The 2 years I spent in that formative years, it was the leadership of the prison officers. Because remember, at that time, 2 years, my father can't be there to guide me. 16 to 17 to 18. Right. At that time is when you really needed a male role model in your life. Yes. And the prison service and its officers in Tobago did that for me, and I'll be forever grateful.
So let me speak about
how do we roll this out to others?
Right. Right. So this is our template. There's 3 phases: orientation phase, midstream, and pre-release. And we attempt to have our inmates go through these 3 stages. Orientation is...
What is the orientation?
Yes. When you come in prison for the first time, just as the word would said, they orient you into understanding what prison is about. So you will not be put in a program first off. You're allowed to be kept to calm yourself a little bit, understand where you are. Go through the signs of anger. I don't want to say depression, but being sad where you are. Because at this stage, you're volatile. You now come in prison, the judge tell you 5 years imprisonment, and you feel that he's too harsh, or you tell yourself, listen, if I make this jail, I'm going to make the jail as a badge-on. Nobody are coming around me, and I'm going to survive in prison. So the orientation, if you're kept there under observation, of course, if you allow the basic foods and the exercise and so on, but we would not put you in a program as yet. We allow you to pursue your religious beliefs. So we have these faith-based organization would come in and expose you to programs. When your behavior, you seem to be conditioned and accepting where you are, and you get out of that state of denial, then we would offer you. Now, we don't have the facilities, the classroom, the amount of staffing to expose everyone to a program situation. So we naturally will select the best behaved inmates who can sit down, who are not disruptive, who wouldn't look to curse and fight others, who doesn't disrespect the officers. So there's a simple selection, and we select them to the program department. We have a special program department officer specially trained, who has a different temperament, who would understand some of the dynamics of imprisonization. So we understand inmates, some of them, a lot of them are on drugs. They go through the denial stages. So we give you program for drug addiction. We expose you to literacy program. Many of them cannot read and write, and they're too embarrassed to say so when they're on the outside. When you come in prison and you see your cellmate cannot even read and write also, it gives you a sense of pride. Hey, well, he ain't so bad. And when an officer comes and offers you a chance to go to school, you can go to school and learn the alphabet. And this school, Skippy, is inside the prison, not outside.
No, you know why I'm laughing, right? I could identify with what you said, Commissioner. I remember Richard. Huh?
Mr. Noray?
Richard, you can't just come on and show me that you're in a mask in the airport. You have to say something. But I identify with what you said, Commissioner, because I remember one of my ways of surviving in the prison is having to write letters for these guys.
Okay.
Literally having that was one of my hustles in the prison, writing their letters and so. And I remember one person did not pay me. So I said, okay, he want a letter. Say, oh, a letter in my mind. I said, I'll write one for you. So I wrote, meet me by the cow shed, 9 o'clock. Make sure and bring the gun. We had the hacksaw already. For poor thing, he can't tell us. He gave the welfare officer that to send out. Well, needless to say, they put him in the cell block for a while. They put him so, but humor aside, Commissioner, from where you sit, is that the reality of how you expect your settling in methodology to work. Is that the reality? Or is the reality an officer tell you, hey, yeah, I don't hear you know. Go so. Me and your father. I am suggesting to you, Commissioner, from where you sit to the execution of what you expect, there is a breakdown. Are you aware of it? Have you been told of it? And if so, how do you intend to fix that breakdown?
Skippy, I'm 33 years in his service, right? I'm not a contract commissioner that came in on a 2-year or 3-year contract. I'm 33 years behind under my belt.
Oh, you're throwing boy.
I'm saying what you described there, we have a mix. Our prison officers, we have a mixed situation. So yes, there's a bad crop. Yes, there's a crop that doesn't want anything to do with rehabilitation. But the majority of officers are on board. We may lack the resources. Look, just this week, what it was, Wednesday, I launched the opening of a classroom with a group, a volunteer group, DMAD, Drama Making a Difference, together with Digicel. They built 2 classrooms for us at the prison, Golden Grove Prison, where we will have space and accommodation, facilitators and teachers teaching them life skill programs. So the larger percentage, Skippy, are officers who we can work with and the better officers. The officers that may exhibit what you spoke about are those that work at the remand prison, where the inmates don't give them time of the day, right? They're disruptive. When they come out of their cells,
it's stressful.
Yeah, they will tell the officer, not 10 like you could put me back inside there. And they would be testing the officers, right? They would be given lyrics with a serious face.
I accept that. So
the officer
the focus there in that environment would be of security and order.
Yes, and the inmates, they are really problematic. It's not like they are good behaved guys and abuse is coming on to them.
Or what kind of intervention can be made to calm them down?
Right.
To trump and follow suit with the process.
Now, I may have been guilty of painting them with a broad brush in my very just words that I said, not all remanded inmates are like that also. There are some very good remanded inmates, and over the years, we have exposed them to programs. And we start off with sports. They play football, basketball, cricket. We have competition among different divisions. However, for some reason, those inmates are driven by drugs. They love drugs. They love drugs. They'll do anything for it.
And because they're on remand, they expect to go out next week or next year. So they always get themselves, next 2 weeks are going home.
Yes.
So they don't focus on no program.
Right.
So they going, their mind just, I going home.
And they keep their cells untidy. They keep the divisions untidy because they tell themselves, I just squat in here. And like you said, I'm not remaining here for a number of years. A convicted inmate, this cell is my home.
Yes.
So he'll put up family pictures on the wall. He may put up his girlfriend picture on the wall. He may draw off a section in his cell that no one will come across his space, and it is respected. The remanded inmates, the opposite goes. I may go to court tomorrow and I'll not come back here. Why am I maintaining a standard here? So that's the difficult situation with the remanded inmates, and imagine the officers working in that division. If you have relatives who are teachers, they would tell you the kindergarten children and primary school are very difficult to manage. If I draw a reference, the prison system is similarly like that.
Yes.
But it's not children, it's big, strong men.
Can I ask you, and Richard Noray is here with us, sir?
That's the guy with the mask?
Yes, the guy with the mask.
Okay.
He's the president.
I want him to know some attorney at law, Barrington Skippy Thomas.
Yes.
I want the commissioner to know I'm not one of those inmates, the fellow with the mask.
No.
I'm not looking like those who tend to get away, commissioner. Yeah.
Now, here my friend is congratulating my academic pursuit and achievement. Talking to me. He did not even add Esquire to my name. Because Richard Noray, as far as he concerned, Skippy came from the jail too. But as I was always saying, it is my past.
Thomas.
It is my past that made me. It is my past that made me, and so nobody will break me.
I'm on the move. They're calling me, so I'll try
Richard,
to join the
you
program
can't just
shortly.
be showing us you're walking around an airport.
Huh?
We have a commissioner of prison here. You can't just be showing us you're walking around an airport.
Tell him, Skippy, tell him.
No, Thomas.
This is
Thomas.
a commissioner of prisons.
Yes, Mr. Commissioner. Yes. So let me say to the commissioner, I will try to rejoin the show shortly. I have a very short.
You know, if you were in the prison,
huh?
If you were in the prison, we would have put you in the cell block, yeah? With RD1 or RD2.
Yeah. You are so much informed.
Huh? Commissioner, Richard is having some trash because he's the head of a very, he's the head of a very significant financial institution in this country. So he's traveling for meetings and he literally lives meetings. So he's traveling to a meeting.
That's nice. That's nice.
But Commissioner,
are
you satisfied, Commissioner?
I'll come back in.
Okay, Richard, good.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Do that and join us. Do that and rejoin. Commissioner, are you satisfied with the rehabilitation programs taking place in the prison? This is your leadership. This is your command. Are you satisfied with it?
I am satisfied with what is going on, but it should be in a larger scale. We need to expand what's happening. My officers are learning on the go. What I mean to say is that I have plans in place to train my officers in facilitation. That's already on the drawing board and being fleshed out. The prison service and I dare say the government of Trinidad and Tobago are with a memorandum of understanding with the Canadian government, with the prisons there, so they can bring their expertise, bring their knowledge to us. We will have to tweak it to suit our local culture so that we can expand programs and programming for the inmates. The main objective.
Yes, please. Senior on the air, no, I'm doing an interview right now with the Commissioner of Prisons. Let me call you back as soon as I'm done. Yeah? Let me call you back. No, when I'm done, I'll call you back.
Yes, Skippy. I'm saying the main objective of programming is to get into the minds of the inmates, to get them a sense of remorse for the crimes they have committed, to let them want forgiveness and let them want to lead a better life. And then you can go on to other skills building, like teaching them trade so they can get employment. Previously, years gone by, we spoke about training them in trade so they can get employment. But if you have an inmate who is skillful, but his mindset is not remorseful, he's still excited about doing wrong, crime, then we're not going anywhere with that. So we need to work on the mindset of the inmates first. We need to encourage their families to reunite with them. Many of them are from broken homes, broken relationship, and they are continuing that broken cycle because an inmate will beat his chest and tell you how much child mother he has, and never tell how much wife, who is his wife.
When I left the prison, Commissioner, one of the first things I did was hug my father. When he came and collect me with about 300 people. It was like a kind of Juve morning when I walk out the jail, you know.
Okay.
The village was there for me. It was like a Juve morning. Mr. Robinson was still alive. He was not president then, but he was still, I think something with the teeth. He was still around, and he came, Carmona, who was president, but then judge. So there was Colin Ramdeho, he was Attorney General of Canada and member of the royal family. So I always had that kind of support, right?
Yeah.
And so they came. But I hugged my father and kissed him on his forehead. And you know why? One of the things I recognize in the prison is that if you spoke to 100 inmates, only one of them could tell you something positive about their father.
Correct.
The rest
Very
will tell you
correct.
things like, I don't like him, he was never there, I hate him if I see him.
I don't know him.
I realize that that is a major statistical, I don't know him yet. But I ask you this, is religion though? Because it seemed to me that a number of the prison rehabilitation program is steeped in religion. And is that a solution as opposed to actual education? Because education, it worked for me, and I know a number of other people it worked for. In fact, the statistics would reflect that it works. It is a solution. Is this stream of steeped religious interventions, whether it be the Adventists, the Muslim, the Pentecostals, a whole stream of them, and they always come to the prison and they, quite frankly, annoy you every Friday or Thursday or whatever day there is. And quite frankly, I used to go in all because it was just an opportunity to get out the dormitory and so. But is that a real reformation intervention, or should it be that of one steeped with education, degrees, diplomas, and that sort of thing?
We need both of them, Skippy. The religious persuasion and denomination, it's part of where we calm the inmate, to get them to relax, understand love and affection, as I mentioned before. The education could come the next day or simultaneously, but we must have that element of religion in their lives. Now, if you ask any church, and let's say you have 100 people fellowshipping, and they save one life, they're happy with it. So the short answer, we must have both of them, education and religion. Must have it.
Well, should it be, my thought, well, I hear you, and respectfully, I don't agree, but I hear you. Because at the end of the day, that is why you are the commissioner of prison and I'm not. You have 33 years experience there. I don't. I had 2 years. So you will, I'm sure, know some more. I'm sure that there are some information that would guide your thinking and decision that I would not be privy to. But if I say to you, Commissioner, that there are a group of professional and business people who are prepared to meet with you to offer scholarships, online scholarships, well, for inmates to do online degrees and diplomas and that sort of thing. How would your prison service respond to that?
Well, Skippy, it will not be the first time.
Okay.
We have had those business people and charitable person doing that over the years. In fact, right now, we have 2 inmates who are on scholarship from Cipriani Labor College, engaged in a program right now. Yes, and the college was impressed with their debate competition. They articulated their views, and they gave prizes, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th prizes. And one of those prizes was a scholarship to the institution, and they are actively engaged in that right now. So to the group that you would know, open door policies, give me their number, give them my number, we'll embrace them. That's wonderful.
I want to go back to Tobago. I want to go back to, no, I know what I'll do about Tobago. I'll ask the people at the THA to communicate with you post-haste.
Yes.
I'll ask the people at the THA to communicate with you post-haste. I want to single out and make for mention and commendation one Mr. Scanterberry. Is he known to you?
Very well.
I have, when we were in government, the YTC, and not, what is it called now?
YTRC.
Have a different name.
YTRC. Youth Training Information Center. YTRC. Yeah, we put in the Y in this, just before the C.
I did not realize that was. I did not realize that was under the purview of my ministry then. I honestly did not, until we had to appoint the board. and said, okay, well, now that I know I should show an interest. And I am saddened with the state of affairs at the YTC. Well, let me qualify. Let me say, I'm saddened with the state of affairs post the YTC. And that is because I am aware that Mr. Scanterbury and his team, they do all that and beyond that is humanly possible to make better lads of these individuals. But when they are returned to society, all the work, effort, and resources that were put in collapse, it comes to naught. What is the prison service doing post-release? What is the prison service position, rather, post-release from prison? And I would hear the argument that, well, we have no remit over anybody released from the prison. But what is the prison service view about how prisoners who have participated in the programs where the prison service have expended enormous resources into? But these people are still rejected because there is still the line drawn in the sand. You came from the jail. What is the prison service view on that?
Right. We have in our regulations something called the aftercare officer, which is now known as the welfare officer. We have no, are you hearing me? We have no, the prison service has no autonomy over an ex-inmate. However, we may be able to do social things for the inmate, assist him in getting a job, but the assistance we can give is by way of letters of recommendation. And that is as far as it goes, where autonomy is concerned. But my officers are so bogged down, Skippy, with the work at the prison. It gives us little time to do anything else for an ex-inmate, except to give a letter of recommendation. Now, what we do to the benefit of the ex-inmate is we do work with him just before he's released, and we call that a pre-release program. During the time of a prisoner in prison, when he will lose family relationship, our welfare officers' role and their mandate is to assist or provide opportunities for the re-establishment of family bonding. And we encourage the family, you are the better one to get job for this inmate, as opposed to a person from the prison. There are some successes in that, and there are some instances where the families reject the inmates, but I don't want to blame the family all the time, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are individuals who don't take
No,
change.
because that inmate,
Well,
of course, and that inmate ordinarily would have caused some stress, embarrassment, and distress to the family.
Right.
And so the prison service role is to hold and treat you while you're with us.
Yes. Skippy.
So that leads, yeah?
I
Yes,
consider myself an asset to the prison service being the commissioner. You know why? I spent 10 years as a welfare officer. So I can speak how I speak.
Okay.
Not from no textbook, Skippy.
Yes,
but I've been to inmates' homes, counsel their family members, counsel the inmates, organize family visit, to many, many successes. A lot of inmates give me that respect when they see me. Ex-inmates give me that. Inmates too. Inmates and ex-inmates give me that respect. So I understand this term of prison reform, rehabilitation firsthand.
Commissioner, I have looked at the Joint Select Committee report on social services and public administration on an inquiry into the challenge on prisoner re-entry into society and prisoner reintegration services in Trinidad and Tobago. I have seen and read the submissions of the prison service, and the prison service suggested, and it was accepted by the Joint Select Committee, and it is now in bill form, and I read for you, quote, the bill aims to provide for the rehabilitation of offenders by providing for the expungement of minor convictions from a prisoner's criminal record. The bill aims to give effect to the principle that if a person has not been reconvicted of a serious offense for a certain period of time, he's entitled to have his conviction expunged. The bill seeks to provide that a set rehabilitation period, which is dependent on the type of offense and sentence imposed, and a conviction resulting in a non-custodial or custodial sentence, not more than 36 months, must be treated in law as a spent conviction. And the person convicted must be treated as a rehabilitated person, provided that he has not been convicted of any other offense during the rehabilitation period. The general aim of the bill is to alleviate the problems faced by persons who have a criminal record and who are constrained to carry the damaging stigma of a criminal record, even though they maintain a clean record for several years afterward. Such a stigma has grave consequence on a person's ability to become gainfully employed and is prevented from being part of certain professional bodies. A person who has become a rehabilitated person is to be treated for all purposes in law as a person who has not committed or been charged with or prosecuted for or convicted of or sentenced for the offense or offenses which were the subject of that conviction. So I know the prison service had made those submissions and I've suggested it would assist you tremendously. What are your thoughts on such a bill? And this bill is mirroring, Commissioner, the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act 1974 in the United Kingdom, which have a schedule, but the high bar mark is that as long as you have not been sentenced for anything over 36 months, in 4 years, your sentence ought to have been considered not to have taken place. What is the prison service view on this, and how can this assist the prison service on matters of recidivism and that sort of thing?
Well, Skippy, I support collectively what you read on the bill. But it came from the prison, and the Joint Select Committee had a steering committee in place. I'm a member of that steering committee, so I am aware of the bill, and that was submitted. It will assist society, Skippy, not the prison service.
Yes.
Because it addresses ex-offenders.
Yes.
And it addresses reintegration.
Yes.
How far it will reach, how deep it will benefit, we just wait till the test of time. However, as a commissioner, I appreciate anything that can be done to assist ex-inmates to reintegrating, successful reintegration, and becoming law-abiding.
And on a personal note, although it may be humorous, the prison service owe me 7 cents and I want my 7 cents commission.
Well, as an attorney, Skippy, we have to pay you with interest.
Yes.
Not 7 cents.
And I want my interest on my 7 cents. I was sentenced to hard labor and I did not get my 7 cents. But I raised that very jocularly to ask this question. Are you satisfied, Commissioner, in 2022 that the prison rules from since the Rock of Ages was a pebble are applicable now to assist you in managing the prison service? I have read the from abstract of the rules and I was like, really?
No, of course not, Skippy. We need much more resources than that to manage the prison service. However, we must consider the country's needs. When we have hospitals not having enough medication, when we have school systems that need resources, when we have utilities, roads and so on to fix, I and any other citizen cannot expect the prison to be on top of the list. So we must put the prison somewhere lower down. The challenge is we have to work with the resources we have, but the human nature, the human element in all of us, Skippy, we need to give an ex-offender a chance once he's genuine. So I lecture and counsel inmates, when you are released from prison, and you go for a job and the person disappoints you or doesn't hire you, do not stoop. Do not show him a bad face. Show him courtesy and say, sir, I understand why you refuse me. I respect your view. Have a good day, sir. And you go back to him next week or next month with the same humility. And I am sure you will get that employment because you are being honest and true to form. But when an employer disappoints you and you stoop or you pelt a cuss at him and you can't go back there for no job, you proven in fact that you're not the person to hire. If you haven't talking like you right now, you know.
Or you tell him, I will put you on pause. I will put you on pause. But I raised the issue with the Joint Select Committee because I suspect and verily believe that I don't think, that prisoners understand at the executive level the kind of intervention you all are making for them.
No, they don't.
I genuinely believe. I don't know if it's because there is a decision not to tell them or we won't tell them as yet, but from where I sit and the reports that I am reading, I don't think prisoners understand the intervention the prison service leadership is making for them.
Skippy, before you tell me we're not at time and so on, I want to make a point here quickly.
We're not running out of no time at all.
All right, let me make a point there quickly, Skippy. We have a category of prisoners called lifers or long-term sentences, right? Yes. They're doing 75 years, 100 years jail and so on. And they have been in the prison system for 25, 30, 35, almost 40 years. It started before my coming into office as commissioner. But since I've come into office, the Minister of National Security has indicated a genuine effort to address the situation of getting these inmates to be early released or to get a presidential pardon. At this point in time, we are doing up their dossiers, putting their files in place to ask the government and the powers that be to look at these inmates who have been rehabilitated in the prison. And by keeping them here any longer, they may regress because they have been promised and promised and promised you'll be released. Now, I tell you, I have 33 years here, and I've met inmates in here.
Yeah.
Let me say something controversial here, who are even better than some of my officers.
Yeah, and they have more service than you.
Not only service, they have some more integrity. These are not orderlies. Some of my officers, and some of them I am locking up for doing crime. Now, but come back to the inmates. I want to put a plug in here for them. We have inmates in the system, I would say maybe within 80 to 100 inmates that should be released. They're ready for reintegration. We have worked with them. Thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent on them. They are ready for release.
Commissioner, I say to you, we cannot hire all 80. But I say to you, and I give you the commitment from this place and at this time, that 10 of them, if they are so mindful, will find employment in my law firm.
Very good, thank you.
Even with scholarship, if they are so minded to pursue the law as well.
Although, let them come to me washing no cars and things, you know, Skippy. Give them good work, you know.
Commissioner, that you don't know Skippy yet. You don't know. No, somebody did that with me at time, now, Miss School, I'll never forget her. She said, oh God, you come out. So yeah, Miss School, I came out. Well, you must come by me for piano lessons. The music will help you to be at one with yourself. But every evening I go for piano. Remember I tell you all this story already? But I had to go and shell a whole set of peas. I said, Miss School, let me tell you something, right? How much for your piano lessons? Tell me, Saka, tell me grandmother to pay. But I not come here to shell no peas and all that stupidness. No, and I have said, I think you told me we've been broadcasted throughout the prison too, right?
Yes.
I'm saying to the inmate, I want to say something directly to the inmate. Take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. The prison service is not your enemy. The prison service have a Herculean task to balance between society vengeance for you and protecting and caring for you with limited resources.
Yes.
So I want to say to the prison population, take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. do an introspection. And when you're sure you want to do something positive in life, my name is Barrington Skippy Thomas. And I have tremendous support and resources behind me. And if you're sure, take a deep breath. Don't rush it. Tell the officer, I heard Mr. Thomas and the commissioner speaking on the radio on Friday the 20th. He invited me to take a deep breath. And if I intend to pursue a profession in whatever, he's going to support me. Commissioner, I give you that pledge. And any inmate that have taken that deep breath, reconcile their differences internally, and done that introspection and put up their hand, me and a team of friends are ready to assist them.
Skippy.
With no strings attached, because I don't beat around the bush. I don't know prisoner. I'm not lying with no prisoner. No prisoner is not my friend. I don't want to be their friend, but I have been there. I have been there. And I know your work. I know your challenges. And I think you're doing good work. And so this evening is not about criticizing the challenges of the prison service. But it's to point out the prison service working with challenges. And I think we as a society must rally around you and your executive, and I commit myself to that today.
Thank you so much, Skippy. Skippy, we have a radio station in the prison.
Yeah, you do.
Yes. Rise Maximum Radio.
I know it vaguely when we were in government, because I remember approving some expenditure and so forth.
Yes. I am inviting you on air, Skippy, to come and spend an hour or two, our according to time, even less, to speak to the inmates on the radio station. We have inmates who work in radio station, who deliver programs side by side with officers. You'll be amazed. And if I ask them to dress in civilian way, you would never be able to know who is the inmate, who is the officer. By their speech, by their diction, by their delivery, by the heartfelt stories that they speak on the radio station to inmates. When inmates hear inmates speaking to them, they better understand it and feel it than if an officer spoke to them.
They do.
You have my number, take me up on that challenge, Skippy.
I definitely will. Commissioner.
And I extend it to Noray and Mac.
I'll come with Richard.
Yeah.
Good.
Mac will anchor from where he is.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Mac will anchor from where he is, and I'll merge it. But the thing is that Richard does have a lot of maintenance issues. So I don't want to bring it and you all might keep him.
Hear what I have to offer to compensate for that 7 cents we owing you.
If Richard hear me suing me,
Listen to the commissioner, Skippy.
Yeah,
yes,
I want to offer you, Mark and Noray, what you call an officer's loaf. It's a lovely bread that you get addicted to it when you eat it. And that will compensate for the 7 cents we owing you.
I don't want to get committed. I don't want to get committed to the officer loaf. That officer loaf have bacchanal in it. You remember Butter Stewart?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Well, since you don't remember it.
No, you call the wrong name. You call the wrong name. You call the butter right, but the wrong name.
I do remember it as Butter Stewart. This was a superintendent, but there was a deputy commissioner named Lennox Watson. Everybody had a silver Mitsubishi Galant. Everybody in the prison is treated like AIDS. I used to see Mark senior superintendents straightening the hat and pulling down the jacket and thing. First they freed him. But he said, you don't want, they say let the officers, they go and buy Kislow. Let them go and buy the bread. You don't want no officer there. So he said, Butter Stewart, nice hot bread.
No, Skippy is not Stewart. Don't say Stewart. They started with T. I won't say it.
Well, that person came out now from the bakery with the hot loaf of officers bread. He's a superintendent, and but that's something. No, but I still, because he tried that thing in a grocery somewhere already too, you know. And he went in the grocery catch him, he said, "Now I was just checking the security arrangements here." But Mr. Watson saw him coming out. But when he saw Watson coming up the road driving the car, but when Watson meet Golden Grove, like with telepathy, you just be hearing throughout the whole compound, silver bullet coming, what silver?
Yeah,
the silver bullet. So this man now put the butter he had to eat in nice. So the commissioner is correct, it's a nice loaf, you know. He had, and he covered up, he had to read and thing, eh? So, like Watson saw him, and was son still up and son still hot, so Watson engaged him. But what he's so stupid, Watson do ask you them things there. So Watson, how is your daughter? How is school going? How is your wife? Watson asked him everything, down to how we goldfish going. But when the butter started to run down his forehead, run down his cheek, here Watson. I tell her you go and buy all your bread, or here I tell you no, and he just walk and go away. Well, after that name Stephanie. But the point I am making is at that time, the jail was the jail.
Correct.
How do we get back these? Because say what you want, Commissioner, and I want to make a point here, Commissioner, because it was that era of the jail, Commissioner, that produced, or let me not say produce, but people have passed through. Deopersad, George Weeks, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, A.N.R. Robinson, Clive Nunez, me, and a number of other people.
Me too, Skippy, me too.
No, I was calling people. No, we came with a warrant. You came with a recommendation.
All right, I'll follow you.
Yeah. But the point is, at that time when the prison was settled, at that time on those issues and how we make prisoners better, your prison commissioner were producing people who became national leaders. I repeat for emphasis, A.N.R. Robinson, he became president. Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, a highway was named after him with a Trinity Cross. Wayne Chance, for all intent and purposes, Wayne Chance, he got a national award. Deopersad, he became prime minister. George Weeks, he was a minister in government. And there are a number of others, Clive Nunez, a number of others, Patrick Jagasa, a number of others. I mean, he got vexed with me like hell. Jagdeo Singh, who is now an even more prominent attorney than he was before he entered the system. He used to teach while he was there. So the point is that your prison at one time, Commissioner, were able to contribute some of the best minds and leadership to this country. How do we get back to that place? And what do you have in your mind or in your policy for us to get back to that place?
You want a good PR question, or what the truth?
I want the truth. If you just be listening to me, I want the truth.
Well, I need to get a magic one.
Yeah.
I need to get a magic one.
I suspect the quality of prisoners is not who it used to be.
Correct. And even the officers, even the young officers, they're on bling and partying, and they are the wrong role model for the inmates. But
I know one when I was on the WASA board. I know one we fire every 3 months. But he used to come and beg me and say, "Oh God, Chief." I say, he's a young fella, give me a blind. He's not crime, but in discipline. He commit crime, but I saw him about 3 weeks ago. He buy a drink for me. So how you go? He said, "I want to thank you, the boss." I said, "For what?" He said, "I'm in the prisons now. I'm in the prison." I said, "Well, do you mean any prison?" I said, "On bail?" He said, "No." I said, and I know I asked him if he was on bail. He said, "No, I'm in the prison now." I said, "Well, God help the prison service." God help the prison service.
Now, having said that, Skippy, and now we're joking and having a chat.
But let's get back to the officers who are prepared to work with you, because I'm sure those people are in the minority.
No, the majority.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the feedback I'm getting.
Wow.
I'm coming out and I'm speaking things as they are. I'm defending my officers. and I'm getting rid of the crooked ones.
Yeah, so I'm saying that the crooked ones in the minority, I hope.
Oh, yes. I misunderstood you. Yeah.
That is the point I was making.
Yeah, I heard you were saying who were supporting you and so on.
No, yeah. Oh, so those supporting you in the minority.
No, those supporting me in the majority. The crooked ones are in the minority. Motivation, Skippy, is an important thing for any employee.
Yes, it is.
And I'm focusing on motivation. I need to build back the self-esteem of officers with a sense of self-worth. The same programs that the inmate need, my officers need some of that. Inmates come into our system as a broken person, a broken man, a broken woman. Family values broken. They are hurt. They commit an offense. Sometimes we have to break them completely and build them over. We can't start where they are.
Yeah.
So breaking them sometimes means staying longer in the orientation program. Because if you expose you too early to the program, you will rebel and you'll never want to go back to that program again. Yeah. Having said that, some of my officers are broken men and women too. You need to heal them to heal others. So if you motivate your staff in doing better, and we're here to help you deal with your personal problem, deal with whatever situation you have, we can better administer, and let me use the word justice now as our mandate to reform the lives and minds and beings of the inmates in our care. So if that helps towards getting out of the prison, that's how it was many years ago, I think that's the best solution thus far.
Commissioner, if we go back to the orientation program, are there psychologists in this orientation program?
Yes, we have psychologists on the prison staff. We have advertised
complement of psychologists.
No. We have recently advertised for 10 more. There were interviews that were conducted. So they are working on it, on employing more psychologists, more welfare officers. But we need all officers to think like psychologists. And that's the crux of the whole thing. Yeah. Because psychologists seems to be too far and remote for what we should be doing. A psychologist has to come in as an expert dealing with specific and unique cases. We need officers well-trained, well-rounded to be on the ground, to motivate the inmates, be father figure to the inmates.
Well, that brings us now to the question. Is the training syllabus for officers consistent with the needs you have now?
It will be, Skippy, since I'm here now.
Excellent. And I am holding you to that, particularly since you came from the welfare department.
Yes.
You would understand that more than anybody else.
I have the skill set.
Yes. I have the
skill set.
Of that I know. And I must admit, this is the first commissioner of prisons I've interviewed, and I told the team, said, yes, most certainly I will speak to this commissioner because I genuinely believe in your effort and I genuinely believe in your vision. And I know about your background in the prison and your qualification for wanting to make the prison service a better place that could churn out more prisoners like Abasio Pandey, George Weeks, Skippy, and others.
Thank you, Skippy. Let me give you a little joke.
Uh-huh.
When I came, I got my IT guys and set up the computer here and all that. Yeah. When I saw Skippy Barrington Thomas there, I said, listen, it's fight, boy. I pick up my weapons, I say it's fight. I say, come in here to pounce on me.
No, I think that I am grossly misunderstood. I think that I am grossly misunderstood. I genuinely believe that I'm grossly misunderstood because I have always had a passion for the prisons. I deliberately did nothing while I was responsible for the Ministry of People and Social Development, and some aspect of the prison fell in my remit. And that was because I wasn't prepared to become an administrator of nonsense. I'm going to make a statement now. I know it's extremely unpopular. Quite frankly, most of the role I see a lot of these NGOs playing, I think that the resources of the state ought to be entrusted with the prison service to carry out those functions.
I agree.
So there's a number of issues I had. And I said, no, I'll not be getting involved. Nobody will be using me because I was an ex-prisoner. Because I know how to distinguish the fact that I'm not an ex-prisoner anymore. I have a state function with taxpayers' money to carry out. And I don't want to see anything from any ex-prisoner group. Those things mean nothing to me. This country has something called a prison service, and every dollar, every cent, and every human resource must be thrown at the prison service so we could get the best from our prison service. And that is how I describe the prison service, as our prison service.
Correct.
Because I tell you what, Commissioner, if we think holding and treating, while that motto worked for years, if we think holding and treating works, the reality, and then again, I heard you made a statement recently, and I'm going to throw that statement at you again. When you want that, some effort to readjust the prison location in Tobago, and you all wanted to go somewhere in Wilson Road. And I said, look at that, And I said that as a Tobagonian. I didn't make that statement as Skippy the lawyer, Skippy the economist, Skippy the talk show host. I didn't make that statement. No, I make that statement as a Tobagonian. I said, look at that. We need somebody from Trinidad to tell me that. A Trinidadian to tell me, why are you all doing that? Is all your brother and all your cousin and all your neighbor and all your nephew? Because our option is we could have closed the jail and bring all of them in Trinidad, But we expending resources, time and effort to keep all your son, all your nephew, all your neighbor, all your brother in Tobago. And this is the thanks we get. Don't bring them here. But who is it them? Them is we, them is you.
I'm glad you say this, Skippy, and not me.
And when I said, and I made an intervention into that, And I said, listen, bring this nonsense to an end. I called the secretary. I said, bring this nonsense to an end right now. Because they are our people. And we need to see this as an opportunity to say, we could boast, just like in Barbados. You know, one time I walked down Bridgetown, I did not know it was a prison. I hear people saying, oh, I looking wrong. And they say, no, bend down, bend down. And when I bend down, the wires with the hole and thing on the pavement, is prisoners there in a cell.
Correct. Yesterday, I got a correspondence from the THA where they're looking at another site for the prison. So talks are on the way with that.
Well, Commissioner, I know you're doing an excellent job. Do you want now, so let me go back now to a completely positive mode on what are the good news in the prison before we take some calls. Give us some of the good news in the prison under your stewardship. I don't want to hear about nobody else. So if I wanted to hear from them, I would have interviewed them.
Officers have a fresh impetus for their job.
Fresh impetus.
Right, since I've been here. I have supported sports. Just recently, I've told the manager of the cricket team, by the way, we won first prize. You know, our finals, our cricket team, prison cricket team. I said, no longer will. Officers. I said, no longer will my officers have to purchase their uniforms and struggle from their salary.
Okay.
That's motivating officers. We were having sports again this year, but because of the COVID protocol, we had to close it down. But they did enjoy some of the pre-events. Officers are now informing on their colleagues. They are texting on my phone with officers' names and numbers so I can act on. Now, I don't know, some might be a little hate. I hate something to get back at someone. But now I'm getting numbers. They are calling our 800 number prison and reporting their crooked colleagues. That's something good. We have increased on the searches at the prison, and we are getting results. I am at the same time pushing programs for the inmates. So it's not hate you, but it's helping you to do things better. We had a Mother's Day program recently going there, and there were a lot of bureaucracy in getting a Mother's Day program ongoing. Remember, we dealing with the 1838 Act. where you need to certify the biological mother and children and so on. I have extended flexibility in that. So you do not have to be the biological mother to have someone consider I love you as a mother.
But how we could have bureaucracy, Commissioner, and for all intent and purposes, I must advise you, considering the Prison Service Act and its regulation, you is the God there, you know.
Yes, well, that's what's happening good now. There's flexibility that is concerned. Our vehicle fleet management. Before I joined the service, I did auto and diesel mechanics, so I'm very knowledgeable in that area. We are now seeing our vehicles being repaired. We're taking 3 vehicles and making 1. 3 scrap vehicles, sorry, and making 1 until we get more. Those are some of the good things happening. I am trying to manage our resources, financial resources, to be more astute and to give us more than before. Only 2 months there, Skippy. If I get 2 years, I'll do 2 more. I'll do much more.
I'm sure you would. I'm sure you. But what's happening with good? Tell us some good news now with the prisoners community, prisoner community of the prison.
I'm working towards the lifers I told you about.
Yes, 80 of them is likely.
Yes. I'm working towards getting our filing system properly, so that we would not be at fault when we make the recommendations for their early release or pardon.
Okay.
We have juvenile inmates. We are dispensing more and more programs towards them. That's at the YTC.
Yes.
What you mentioned, Mr. Scanterbury. The good work Mr. Scanterbury done has earned him.
He's a hero. He's a hero.
Yeah, he has elevated now to an assistant commissioner. So he's no longer, he's no longer there. Another gentleman there by the name of Orozco. He's doing an excellent job. He's continuing the good work Mr. Scanterbury did.
Great.
Right. So again, their sports is a big thing at YTC.
I remember going to the YTC on Sunday for lunch with some business persons who said to the lads, listen, follow the rules, do what you have to do. When you come out, there's place for you in my company. And that worked well, eh?
Yes.
Quite a few of them enjoying their life. Look how, like old people say, I grew up in Tobago and I believe in the saints and I believe in the tradition. So I was going to Tobago one afternoon and there was this young lad who was there under Scanterbury time. And one of the person, I'm not afraid to call his name, Harry Ragu. Mark, help me. Harry Ragu.
Ragunanan.
Ragunanan, yes.
Yeah.
Harry Ragunanan, he's like primarily what the owner, well, in majority shares of Brico Airlines. And one such lad at that place expressed an interest in being a pilot. Well, I'm proud today to say I made that intervention then in the YTC compound and was in the airport struggling to get a flight to go to Tobago. He said, well, I running up to Tobago because a company hired us to carry some documents, but if you want, you could come with me. And I was able to go with him, flying. He came from the YTC under Scanterbury. From having lunch at the YTC. So I tell you, Scanterbury is a hero.
Yes. I'll tell him you said that.
Scanterbury is a hero.
Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't remember the lad. He said, Mr. Skip, you getting problems to go up? I don't know what he was doing over there. And then they tell me, he said, no, I just come to get something to eat. I came to Royal Castle. So I saw you there. He said, well, I know it's just documents are carrying up and the plane I flying had 5 seats. So you say there's nothing to carry up. I will tell you, no, come with, if you want, you could come with me, I'll carry up. And he carried me up. But he got their company, Brico, were really carrying up some documents. He said, no, come, I'll carry up.
Okay.
And I didn't remember him, eh? I imagine if he tell me he was from the YTC, I would have suspect is, and that is the point I wanted to make with you, Commissioner. But imagine if he ordinarily tell me from the YTC, then I would have started thinking is somebody playing a thief. Me, I want to go. But the point is, No, but the point is, there is good news in the prison, which is why I asked my producers and then to put this show together. There is good news in the prison. And I want to say to the prisoners listening, you can be a part of this good news too. The prison service doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to the prison officers. Everybody, they have to cooperate with the rules as it exists, whether they like the rules or not, to make it happen. And much more good news can come out of the prison. And that is why I had this conversation with you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
That is why I had this conversation with you.
Thank you. It's very
Prison is not only about bad news. Prison is not only about bad news. Prison have good news too. Prison have good news too. Two young fellas that were in YTC, one is in London School of Economics doing his LPC. So we look forward in our chamber as soon as he's finished that in the next 4 months, that he would, the petition, and we're hoping for November, that he'll be called to the bar as well. One have just completed his LLB. And I know all of them from having lunch on a Sunday there with them with when Canterbury leader there.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Because I am not the kind of person who does pull up the ladder. I don't pull up the ladder. The ladder don't pull up when I don't pull up the ladder. The ladder must remain down for us to come up. And I know there's good news. Commissioner, are you mindful to take some calls, Mark? Give the number.
Sure.
Please, huh?
Okay, folks, you can join us and be part of the conversation. Ask any question or make comments at 222-8255, 612-8255, and 866-525-1099. That's our international toll-free number. So we await your call. Yeah.
And the prisoner that did that Calypso competition, but not me and that competition then, huh? No, they have a Calypso, like in Tobago. And I'm telling you, Commissioner.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Commissioner, you see that project and that policy map 2228.
Yeah, we have a lot of calls. Let me interject you guys. A lot of calls coming in.
Go straight to the line.
Yes.
Hello, caller.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It means a very enlightening program this evening, and Mr. Skippy, so glad to hear you. Mr. Commissioner, thank you for your enlightenment. Keep up the good work. Keeping on doing a good job. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Skippy, glad to hear you back. No, it's a rare radio station.
Thank you, brother. Mr. Felix, good evening. Mr. Felix.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Felix, are you there?
Thank you, brother.
Mr. Felix.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, Mr. Felix.
Good evening, Commissioner. Welcome back, Skippy. Yeah, I was seeing Commissioner on the paper.
Mr. Felix.
Yeah, hello. Are you hearing me?
Skippy, are you hearing him?
Is the Commissioner hearing me?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Felix.
Yes,
Right.
I'm hearing. Yes, I'm hearing.
I was reading, and this is directly to the Commissioner of Prisons. I was reading somewhere on the papers about conjugal visits for prisoners. How serious is the Commissioner about this, and how is that supposed to work? Okay.
Well, the definition of conjugal visit for you, sir, is not the definition for me.
What does that mean, Mr. Ramoutar?
Tell us.
Yes, I will. Conjugal visit at this point in time, has nothing to do with sex or sexual relationship. It has to do with family bonding. It has to do with quality time. It has to do with privacy that you can develop. You can parent within the prison. So it's an idea I'm toying with. I know it will raise a lot of eyebrows, but I think when I quantify where I'm coming from, you all will agree. But let me keep you excited, caller. by saying that at some stage we can go to the other level at some stage, and it's all for encouragement for good behavior.
But do you
You
have
have
the
to, you have to
do
earn,
you
you have to earn that privilege.
facility?
Say again?
Mr. Ramoutar, I read from the Oxford Dictionary. A conjugal visit is a scheduled period in which an inmate of a prison or jail is permitted to spend several hours or days in private with him. No, I don't. I give up. You are correct.
Yeah, I am correct.
No, I was trying to make a bacchanal and tell you. I was trying to make a bacchanal and tell you your interpretation of it. But the more I read, the more I was asking up myself. Yeah, you are correct. You are correct. It's really about a private moment.
Yes. So
rather than sit down with the daughter, the child, or the spouse in the open with everybody, you have that. In other words, is a superintendent visit. You know, this visit in the superintendent office, you had a one-on-one interaction, and
but it'll be more than that. The superintendent may not be there. But it'll be the father with his son, with his grandchild, with his brother, with his uncle. All males.
Yeah.
And females similarly. And when we get that going, like I said, it's an idea, it's not a policy. Government hasn't made an approach with this as yet. It's all in my plan for good things for the prison.
Okay, we have another call here. Good evening.
I'm going to...
Just hold on, Skippy. Good evening.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Commissioner.
Caller.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Speak up a little bit.
Mr. Commissioner. Good afternoon, Skippy, and good afternoon, Matt.
Yes, good evening.
I have a question for the Commissioner.
Sure.
I heard him say that he attended the Joint Select Committee, and he recommend that once the prisoner was well behaved, they recommend that once he did not reoffend, his conviction should be expunged. I want to ask the Commissioner, if a juvenile goes to the YTC, did his 3 years, did have a good behavior, did his qualification, and he did not reoffend after 4 years, and he appeared before the Commissioner for selection as a prison officer, if he would select him.
Caller, I would say that
I like that question.
Yeah, I like that question too. I would say that first you would have to consider what the government policies are for recruitment, and I cannot go against that. Skippy, you're smiling, right? Secondly, your character qualities will determine.
No, because I think that you're engaging in the. I think you're giving us a political answer, Mr.
No, I'm still answering, Skippy. I'm still answering.
So
I put that.
Hold on.
Hold on 1 minute, caller. Hold on, caller. Hold on.
I asked the question.
Oh, okay. Repeat what you said. Seeing that Skippy had a comment on this time.
Caller, we understand the question.
I'm not finished.
I am adding to the question to remind Mr. Ramoutar that he's the God in the prison right now.
Okay, and let me answer the question. Your character qualities, your lifestyle, and your qualifications is the first factor to becoming a prison officer. So that will be the first in consideration. Now, if the government would have expunged your sentence, then that has no bearing in making you no longer eligible. So yes, you will become a prison officer.
Mr. Commissioner, I asked the question based on what you said in the Joint Select Committee. I retired as a prison officer after spending 30 years. That is why I posed that question to you.
And are you happy with my answer, sir?
Well, caller, the commissioner have answered. You don't have to agree or not. But if you have a supplemental question, we'll allow it. We can't keep repeating the question.
Commissioner, I do not have a supplementary question. I just based it on the Joint Select Committee.
that he said he attended and what he supported or what he intends to support.
And it seemed to me that because I have to moderate, and it is my position that the commissioner have answered. Whether you agree with the answer or not, that is a different issue, but the commissioner have answered. So I can't moderate and allow you to ask him the same question because you want him to give you an answer you want.
No, Skippy, I don't want him to give me an answer. I know fully well the commissioner, based on the rules and the regulation, will not be able to employ him as a recruit. It's based on the judge select questioning.
All right, caller.
I wanted to know his view. Yes.
Caller, if you didn't hear the question, what the honorable commissioner said was this, right? He said that there are some factors that have to be looked at. I'm summarizing. But he also said, ultimately, if the submissions made to the parliament and the bill is laid, the bill is laid, but when the bill is debated and if the bill is debated and passed, and parliament, based on the construct of the bill, that these convictions are expunged, then the prison service will have no choice but to recruit that person. That is what the commissioner said.
Yeah.
Okay, caller.
Thank you very much, Mr. Skippy, and thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, my brother.
You're welcome.
Right, Skip.
Because let me tell you something. It has some of the best legal minds in this country. Because now I'm not boasting around the bush. I real good, are good, and I'm sure about that. But you see, for strategy, some of the best legal minds, let's just skip our case. So I provided a fee for you. I said, well, what do you want me to do? They said, well, because we know your specialty is cross-examination and strategy. The point I raised that to say this, and this is the point I'm making, that caller, and I'm not being rude to the caller, except to say that you have to listen. And sometimes even if you have a view and you ask a question and you didn't get the answer you like, then you must know how to regroup, reassess, and go again. But you can't ask the same question to expect a different result. If I have to moderate, I'll allow no such thing. 222-8255 or 612-8255, those are the numbers.
Yes. Mr. Commissioner, tell me, is there allowances for well-behaved prisoners to have like a mini vacation from the prison if they are well-behaved and following the rules of the prisons?
That is not permitted in the adult prison. It's permitted in YTRC.
Oh, okay.
Call it a weekend duty off.
Oh.
They go and spend the Saturday and Sunday with their families, unsupervised.
Okay.
But why isn't it allowed in the adult prison?
The risk factor is too high. But there's the parole system allows for that, which we have not embraced as yet. It's in the planning stage though.
I was just about to ask you that.
Mac and Commissioner, respectfully, in this era where Dole Chedi, Abdul Malik, and Guy Harewood, and what's the fella from Sawa?
Benjamin. Yeah, Michael Benjamin.
Yeah, where these fellas are now saints comparing to the crime committed by 14-year-old and 13-year-old and 12-year-old. Are we seriously saying that because they are juveniles, although of worse crime character, we can't apply this rule across the board? Where adults are committing less severe or less frowned upon offenses to these juveniles, but these juveniles still have a weekend to go home. And we can bring it across the board as a holistic management of the prison service if we're talking about reintegration and reformation.
Skippy, the creators of the law, rules and regulation in years gone by realize that we need to concentrate on the youth much more than the adult. So at YTC, we have a grading system. Yeah. Only when you grade to the high grade, I think it's 7th grade, meaning that you have been through programs, you have been through family visits while you were incarcerated, while you were in the prison. And in fact, we don't even call the YTC lads prisoners, we call them lads. Or no, we call them, sorry, we now call them residents.
Yeah. Right.
It's only when you graduate to this particular level, you are sent with your family. So with the adult prison, it's not in our law books as yet. So it's beyond my remit to do that. But I would like to do it at some point in time, Skippy.
Is payroll part of your plan?
Well, that makes a lot of sense to it because if you got no family coming and visit you, nobody visiting you, you seem to have a complete breakdown in your social life. How are you going to be entitled to a weekend to go where? By who? To do what? No, that makes sense. A lot of it actually.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And a lot of it, Commissioner, I don't envy your job. Final train 2228255 or 6128255. Those are the numbers to call. And if you don't call, then we'll give the commissioner the final say to bring the show to an end so that he can get back to the Herculean task of managing the prisons.
Yeah. 2228255, 6128255, and our toll-free number 866-525-1099. You can still pop in your question or your comments.
In respect to the caller that were concerned about whether or not, because about prisoners and what the commissioner said and so on, the
recruitment
and all of that. Yeah, I want to say to that prisoner, persons have left the YTC, known to me, and that are in the defense force, some are even in the police service. And those decisions were made at the leadership level. That I know. And I would want to single out the defense force to say, the defense force on many occasions have been very facilitating to that, particularly if those lads were involved in some of these progressive programs, in some of the progressive sporting programs and music programs and so. I know a lot of those lads who have joined, and that happened under Storky. And when I thought it was Storky alone, I realized it happened under Valdez. That was Joe Theodore. It happened under Ralph Brown. It happened under, so it happened under a number of national security ministers who have made it very clear. When you're recruiting, call the YTC and find out who leaving and who they recommend. And that is why I ask you, Commissioner, have you as Commissioner wrote your colleagues and a number of other state agencies to insist that you must be consulted to recommend a person or two when recruitment in these agencies are taking place? Because it have happened, not as a policy, but as a very unofficial, in an unofficial way. And you must not be left out of it.
The commissioner does that through the welfare department.
Okay. So I know someone, in fact, 3 persons who left the YTC and have been to Sandhurst Military College. Just like my friend who does OC went to Sandhurst. Well, persons from the YTC left YTC. And as they left, the defense force came and picked them up. I know that.
Okay.
They went to Sandhurst, and one is at the rank of major, one is actually at the rank of colonel, and one is still at the rank of a second full lieutenant. Sorry, so he was of recent vintage when we were in government.
Great.
So I know these things are happening, Commissioner, and I'm not going to sit idly by and allow this public to beat up the prison service and think that the prison service is only about cell phone, drugs, and marijuana and $200 cigarettes.
Thank you, Skippy.
The prison service is about much more. Right? Your final words, Commissioner? I am not going to allow that to happen to you because I know better. I know better. The prison service is not only about that. The prison service is producing and have been producing people who came back to this society and led progressive and successful lives. Unfortunately, like most of them, I don't know what they have to hide, but you know our society is. We have to be real with our society. Not everybody have the financial independence that I have, that I could say it. Some just want to prefer that YTC or that prison experience never happened. And they need that secrecy to survive. But I don't need it. I am financially independent. And my mother's still alive. My mother does still pay me light bill. You're laughing. My mother does still take a boat from Tobago, a big working man like me with 3 professions and a successful practice. And my mother does still catch a boat or a plane, but she loved the boat from Tobago. Where are you? I said, Claudette, I'm in work. No, you have to go and pick me up on the port. Now go down there. It's mountain. So, when you go back in work, let the driver carry me out. When the driver come back, I just see me light bill receipt, me flow receipt, me this receipt, me that receipt. I don't know why she thinks she still have to do it. But she doing it. Who is me to don't do it? I am leaving she to do that till she's dead because she wants to do it.
That's right. That's right.
And you know why she do that? You know, and let me tell you something. Anything Tobago prison have, and I want to tell you what this, Mr. Ramoutar, before I give you a final comment, so we could sever parts this evening. It's a Friday evening. And just like you have to, I imagine you have to go and run a prison.
Yes.
I have a few social visits to make.
looking at the color of your beverage, Skippy.
Well, I'm a beverage man. And my mother does do what she have to do for me. And I want to make a point. When I got arrested, my mother was so embarrassed. I wish the prison had kept me for life. Because I did not know how to go and face them again. Remember, these were the who is so in Tobago kind of thing here. I did not know how to face my family. Noel Melville, he's dead. And I have a big picture of me in my house. He was a prison officer. I don't know if you know that name.
Yes, yes.
Noel Melville.
Yes.
Well, he was the welfare man in Tobago. He made the intervention. I tell you, when I left. So the point I'm making is that I am not going to sit idly by and let people believe the prison is about cell phone, $200 cigarette, and stupidness. The prison have a positive commissioner. And this platform called Power 102 Digital, I am committing this radio station for the positive of the prison service to be known to the world.
I hear you, my brother.
Thank you.
That is why we had this conversation. So, Commissioner, your final words.
Right. Skippy and Mac and Noray and all those who are listening, thank you for looking at us in a favorable way. Thank you for giving us the time on the air.
No, you don't have to thank Noray. Forget he. Noray gone to Tobago to hide from a maintenance warrant.
I want to say to my fellow officers, my colleagues,
yes,
and to the inmates, have faith. We're going to work together. You have a commissioner who will listen to your complaints and who is a person of action. I always do what I say, and I try to be as real as I can. I have a track record that speaks for me as a welfare officer and an administrator. Be strong in your faith, officers. We will do what we can to help us get moving forward. And I say that the Ministry of National Security, the PS, since I came on board, they have been working with me to assist us with resources. It's on the way, and we are much encouraged by that. Skippy, I want you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I'm going to make you honorary prison officer as of today. You are hereby a prison officer, Skippy.
My right hand is risen. My right hand is risen. Give me the oath.
Right. Ma'am, take it. From today, you are a prison officer, Skippy. Honorary.
From today, I am honorary prison officer Skippy.
Yes.
My right hand risen and I took my oath.
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner, thanks. I want to thank you for being with us. And I want to say to you, Commissioner, and I mean this. I know one of the Herculean tasks that would create some frustration for you and you see, this for me is about giving, right? This for me is about genuinely giving back. My family was so embarrassed when I got arrested, but literally they had to manage Tobago, they had to manage Trinidad. Okay, my father, well, let me don't do them that, but except to say that they had diplomatic position. My arrest for them my family was very embarrassing for them. And just like them, they wish the prison kept me and not to face them after I got arrested and sentenced. I wish the prison kept me also. Noel Melville intervened and that thing was broken. And in fact, I think I'm one of my family's proudest sons. That did not come about because of no effort or intervention from the prison service. It happened to me, Commissioner, and I'm sure it could happen to many others. I want to work with you to let us see how much more, even if it's one more, let us see how much more it could happen to. And I give you this commitment. I suspect that one of your frustrations is the frustrations of persons in the remand yard who may not be able to access legal aid or legal representation and so. I think you said they are listening on the radio. I commit my legal firm. So I commit Mr. Uday Ramishan. I commit Mr. Navindra Ramnanan. I commit Mr. Henry Chase. I commit Miss Nikisha Clark. I commit myself. There's a long list, a big firm we have. And I commit my firm to providing pro bono the representation that these persons will need. So it would ease their frustration and it would reduce the frustration on the system as well. I commit that to make your work a bit easier. I commit that today.
I thank you on your behalf.
And if they want to access it, all they must do is respectfully and within meanings of the regulations, indicate to the welfare officer, because my number, I'm sure, is available. Yeah? Commissioner, congratulations.
Yes.
On a job well done. Congratulations on how you are managing the challenges of the prison service thus far. You have the support of Power 102, and we will speak again. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you too. Thank you, Mark.
Yes, it's been a pleasure, Commissioner. I like your charisma.
I thank you. Thank you.
I'm always available whenever you need me.
Sure, thanks. Thanks.
Good. Well done, well done, well done.
Yeah.
So, folks, you're listening to Power 102
Power 102 Digital.
Yeah, yeah.
We sound like home. Power 102 Digital. Streaming 24/7 on power102fm.com and on the Power 102 Digital app. Power 102 Digital.
Yes, my brother. That was fantastic.